Welcome back to the Richest YouTube channel. In today's class, we will learn how to make this beautiful cascading flounce effect on the skirt. So you can see what we have. This was made using an Ankara fabric and a plain black polish fabric. So give us this beautiful effect that we are seeing. If this is what you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to make this flounce, the first thing is for you to have an idea of the amount of the measurement that you're going to be needing. So I'll be adding it to this skirt that I already have here, and then the first one for the waistline here, I'm going to be having some pleats there, so I'll just measure like 6 inches for that, and then from there I'm going to measure how long I want this flounce to be, so you can see how I'm measuring it. So I'm just going to be assuming that I'm going to be using around 50 inches for the length, for the total length of my flounce. So now I'll be cutting. You know, there are several ways you can cut a flounce, which I've already illustrated severally on the channel, but I'm going to be using the full flare method to cut this flounce. That's the full 360-degree flare. So for this now, remember I said the total length that I want to go for is around 50 inches. So it depends on how full you want this flounce to be. You can actually divide this your 50 inches by 6.28, and whatever it is that you have, you're going to be using it as the radius for your flounce. But in my case, I want to do like a 1440-degree flounce. That's having 4 different flares. So how do I get this? I'm going to first of all divide my total length, the total length I want to work with. So this 50 inches, I'm going to divide it by 4. So if I divide 50 inches by 4, I'm going to be having around 12.5 inches. Okay, so this 12.5 inches is now going to become my new circumference. So this 12.5 inches is now what I'm going to be divided by 6.28. So whatever it is that I have, so let's say I have 2 inches. So I'm going to be cutting a flounce, a flare, which the radius is going to be 2 inches, and then the length is going to be whatever it is. Remember, the radius is going to be like this, and the full length is going to be like this. So the radius of my flare is going to be 2 inches. That's 2.5 divided by 6.28. Then the length is going to be whatever I want it to be. So by, let's say I want to work with a length of 8 inches. So now what this implies is that for me to get this 50 that I need to cut 4 of this flare. 4 of this flare, then I'll join it together for it to make up these 50 inches that I need. So now this is just me using 4 inches. If you want to cut maybe 3 different flare for this, you just divide your total measurement by 3. If you want to use 2, you just divide it by 2. Then if you're going to be using maybe 5, you divide it by 5, depending on what you want. And if you're okay with just one single flare, you just divide your measurement by 6.28 inches directly. But the difference between this is that once because I divide this into 4, the radius is going to be smaller than the radius that I'm going to be having if I divide this directly by my actual length that I want to work with. So, and the shorter radius is going to give you that flounce effect. So that is why I'm going for this. But if you don't mind, you can just go with what you have here straight. So to do this now, I'm going to be working with a radius of 2 inches by length of 8 inches. So to fold my flare like we normally fold our full flare, that's a total of 10 inches. I need a total of 10 inches. That's 2 plus 8 inches. So I'm going to fold into 2 like this by the 10 inches. So you measure this place and make sure that it is 10 inches. Then after that, you're going to put it on fold again by 4, and then you measure this place to make sure that it is 10 inches also. So once you have your 10 inches like that, you take your tail through like you're cutting your normal flare, and then you measure out these 10 inches. So I'm measuring out 10 inches like this, and then I'm going to make it into a full curve. So once I have this nice curve, I'll now measure out my radius, which is 2 inches. So by the time I measure out these 2 inches, I'll be left with 8 inches length. And then I'm going to measure. So once you check this now, you have a length of 8 inches, as you can see. Then I'm going to be cutting this out. So after cutting it out, I'll use this as a pattern and then cut 3 other ones, so that I'm going to be having 4 full flares. And this flare is going to be lined. So I'm going to be using Ankara as my main fabric, and then a plain black fabric as my lining. Okay, So I'm using these two fabrics. So this Ankara is going to be my main fabric, and this black fabric is going to be my lining. So now I'll go ahead and cut 4 of this on this Ankara, and then 4 of this on this lining also. So after cutting it out, I'm going to place the lining against the main fabric. I'll just open it up on one end like this, because I'm still going to be joining it together. But for it to be easier for me, I'm going to first of all turn each of them with a line before joining it. You can as well sew the main fabric separately, sew the lining separately, and then turn it. But because of the fullness of the flare, it may become a bit overwhelming. So it's better you line it independently before you now join it together. So now I'll go ahead and cut this, line it, iron it, and then bring the 4 back to show us how I'm going to join it. So now I've cut it. This is one of the flares now, and then you just place the lining against the main fabric, right side facing right side, and then you go ahead and sew it round on the hemline. So after sewing it round on the hemline, I'm going to be turning it to the right side, and then I'll give it a good press. So you're going to do this same thing for the 3 other ones to make up your 4 flares. Remember, we divided our total measurement by 4 before we divided by 6.28 to get the radius of our full flare. So now I have one, this is the second one, then these are the 2 other ones, the 3rd one and the 4th one. Now to join it, what you're going to simply do now is to open it. Remember, we opened it up on one side. So for it to be easy for me, I'm just going to open it up like this, and then I'll bring the second one, I'll open it up also. So I'll just match it. Ankara, this is the right side of the fabric, so I'll match the Ankara together like this, and then match the lining together. So after that, now I'll take it to the sewing machine now, and then run a stitch like this. So it's easier for you to join them together like this than joining the Ankara separately and joining the lining separately. So I'll join it together now, and then it will become one. So after joining it, you can see what I'm going to have. So now you can see that I've gone ahead to sew this, and then by the time I sew it, I'll close it up, and this is what it's going to look like. So you can see now that I have something, and you can see how much flange that I even have with just these 2. So now the remaining 2, now I'll take it to the sewing machine and join it to give me one long flare. Okay, so I've joined the 4 together now, and then I now have one long flare. So you can see the reason why I said you should join it separately before you connect them together. You can see the volume that we have here. So now the next thing is to bring in the skirt so that you can start arranging this flare on it. So I'm going to be arranging the skirt like this, and then I'm placing this flare in front part of the skirt. So it's going to be starting from the second, that is the center front of the skirt. Let me just mark it. So here is the center front of the skirt, then this is one dart and this is one dart. So I'm placing it on this side, and I'm going to start it from the dart. I'm not going to start from this side. So what do I do? You can just arrange it straight like this, but for me, remember that I said I want it to have some form of pleating at the waistline also. So I'm just placing it, then I'll do maybe 1 or 2 kissing pleats. So I hope you can see how I'm placing this. So I'm placing it, then I'm starting from that point where I marked, and then I'm going to pin it. So I'll pin it so that I can show us how I'm going to do it. So after pinning it, I'm creating like a kissing pleat. So you can see that I did 1 pleat facing this side. So I'm going to be doing another one facing this side like this, so that it will look like an inverted pleat. You can see what I have, and once I form that pleat, I'm going to pin it here. So you can form 1 or 2, or depending on what you want to achieve actually before you start folding it. So I can decide to do another pleat here before I extend it to the hem like this. So I've done another pleat here, and then I'm just going to hold with a pin. So okay, so after holding this with a pin, now the next thing is to do the vertical flounce. So to do this, remember the flounce is just coming from here. So from the long flounce that I have, I'm just going to fold it and turn it over like this. You can see the way I just folded it. So it's coming from here. I just folded it and turned it over like this, and then I'm going to arrange it well. So this is the first one here which I have formed. So after forming the first one now, and then it is well arranged, I'm going to turn it again like this. Okay, so you can see the way I'm turning it, and then you arrange it again, so you can see what we have. So after forming this again, I'm going to turn it over. So what you are doing is just doing like a zigzag turning. So I'm going to turn it over again, and then I'm going to arrange it. So you can actually reduce the width. Okay, that's how wide this is. Let's just do this. So I will still show us if you want to reduce it. If it is too wide for you, I'll show us how we're going to be reducing it. So after doing this now, I'm going to be folding it over again like this. So I'm folding it again, and then I'll arrange it well. So you can see we have the Ankara chain, the plain, the Ankara, the plain. So that's how you continue doing it zigzag. Then you fold it over again. I hope you can see what I'm doing. And then as you're folding, it's better for you to just arrange it well, so that you will see what the design is looking like before you go over to the next one. So I'm folding it again, and then I'm arranging it as I'm folding. Okay, you must have ironed your, there's no power present, you must have ironed your flare very well. In fact, you can even add a paper stay or gum stay to it if you want, but there's no paper stay in this, and it's still fine because the Ankara is a quality Ankara. So that is how you continue doing this till you reach the hemline. So you just keep folding. Let me move this up. So you keep folding it like this, and then you fold it underneath this again, and then you fold the last one. Okay, so now this is just like the preliminary. Now I can rearrange it. So like I was saying, if you feel it's too wide, which is what I have here, I feel it is too wide here, so I'm just going to keep shifting it to reduce it. So see the way I've shifted this now. I've shifted it here, then here I'm going to shift it to this side also, and then reduce it. So you can see the width is smaller now. So the excess that I have here also, I'm going to push it to this side, and then like that till you reach the hemline. So you keep reducing the width. So you can see that this is wider. See what I have here. But once I push a bit to the next one, you can see what I have. You can see that it is smaller. So if this is what you want to go for at this point before you sew it, you can actually reduce it to whatever it is that you want. So you can see I'm just reducing this. Okay, so that is how you keep reducing it till you get what you want. So I'll do this off camera now so that it will not be too long. Then I'll bring it back to show us how we're going to sew this. Okay, but the basic thing is just for you to get the arrangement, which is what we have done. Okay, what I'm just doing now is just to reduce the width of the flare, because I don't want it too wide. So I'm just reducing the width. Oh, so now I've arranged this now, and I like what I have, so you can see it. So now is the next thing is to show us how we are going to sew this. So to sew this, the upper one is easy. You're just going to sew it straight like this with a stitch, just the way I've pinned it to hold it. But for the cascading one that we have here, what you just need to do now is to keep shifting it. So now see what I'm doing. I'll shift this now, and then I'll sew it down. So I'm just going to be holding this with pins so that it doesn't shift. So you hold it now, you fold it over, and then you go over to the next one, and then you sew it here also. After sewing it, like I'm holding with the pin now, I'm holding with the pin, you fold it over again, then you fold the next one, you hold it. Okay, so that was the one we held. So after doing this also, you close it back, and then you fold the next one, which is this. So you can see the rough edges. See our lining, see our main fabric. There you just sew it down with a stitch there, and then I'm holding this with my pin, Then after sewing it, you fold it again, and then you fold the next one. So you see the lining and the main fabric. So where you have your radius, which is here, you you connect it. Okay, so I've pinned it now and I'm almost through. I'm getting to the end. So I'm just going to, you can see my pins. Then you lift the next one up and then you pin it. So when you are pinning it, you can put your hand inside the skirt, or you do this before you join your side seam, so that you're not going to be pinning the back and front together. So I'll fold this now and then open the next one, and then I'm going to pin it also. So you do that step by step. So that point where I'm pinning is where I'm going to go and sew on my sewing machine. So pinning it is just going to make me know the exact point that I'm going to sew on, so which is here. So now I'm almost through with the pinning. Then I'll take it to the machine now and sew, and we'll see what this is looking like. But you see that the pinning is just, you can see that I'm not losing this form. I still have that cascading effect that I want there. So the pinning is just going to make it easier for you to work with. So this is the last one, and then I've made the last one. So now I'll take it to the machine now and then we'll sew. Okay, so now I'm going ahead to sew this, and these are the inverted pleats that I have on the waist. So like I said, you can actually put an hairstay on this to make it even stand better, for you to have that puffy effect. And these are the cascading flounce that we have. Just look at this, you can see how beautiful this flounce is looking. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed this, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.